okay, I just want to reemphasize that, I think we cannot normalize what has happened here in the last week with Trump and his behavior. And I go back to what David Chalian said, that this is a president who knows he's losing, who knows he's in trouble, is sick, maybe is on the after effects of steroids or not, I don't know, but he is acting erratically and desperately, and we need to not normalize that. This is what we've come to expect for the last 3.5 years, 4 years, but it clearly is exacerbated by the time that we're in and the issues that he's dealing with. And I think that we cannot just let it be normalized. He is all over the place and acting erratically, and I think we need to lean into that.
The Trump media, moves immediately from, okay, well, never mind that unmasking was, found to be completely nonsensical, to the latest alleged scandal, and expects everybody to just follow suit. So I don't think that we should be repeating unsubstantiated smears just because the right-wing media suggests that we should. Frankly, if we've made any mistake, it's that our banners have been too polite, and we need to go well after Lindsey Graham. There's a ton going on. Let's stay strong. Let's stay newsy. Let's stay urgent. Let's be smart. There is a lot of news out there, and Lindsey Graham really deserves it. Each of these so-called scandals for Trump, each of these things, we should just once again be careful to say that this is the one that is going to undo him with his voters. And to respond to David Chalian's points about politics, I don't know why we would expect any of these politicians to have a conscience and or expect that politics wouldn't be completely hypocritical. And for us to expect anything else would be naive.
You are listening to Ada Jet Noise, and this is the Morning Flyby. Oh, good morning. Good morning. Wow. I gotta tell you, knowing CNN's bias, recognizing that CNN is biased is one thing. Hearing it from the horse's mouth, that's a whole other thing. It's just what's going on in the news media in general is nothing short of breathtaking. Nothing good is coming out of the people that are saying they're informing us, keeping us updated. There is limited sources out there right now that are being honest. That was James O'Keefe that you were hearing, the voice of, take that back. It was Jeff Zucker, CEO of CNN. James O'Keefe is the one that came up with the recording. James O'Keefe of Project Veritas, who is doing, dare I say, the Lord's work in trying to expose what's going on in the country, specifically among the socialists. He's been pretty fair enough that every time someone tries to sue him, they have nothing. James O'Keefe, again from Project Veritas, has cornered Planned Parenthood, some of the voting scandals, some of the stuff that's going on in the voting scandals, as well as now the latest CNN showing you just how biased, incredibly biased towards the left these people are, by just telling you what the opposite of what's going on, right? Proof in the pudding is going to come up a little bit later about China and the information that we were getting from them as far as the virus is concerned, and just how dishonest China was being. So let's get into this mess that we call America. You're listening to A to Jet Noise, and this is the Morning Flyby. Founding member of Black Lives Matter Global Network recently accused Joe Biden of taking advantage of the movement, and it's going the Black Lives Matter movement, that is, and its ongoing drive to dismantle allegedly racial bias law enforcement agencies. That's the whole defund the police thing. So that's where you were hearing Joe Biden dig in and tell everybody, hey, yeah, it's not it's not a bad idea to defund the police. And then later on, he was like, oh, yeah, you can't really do that, you know. And I'm not so sure as that he was just pandering as much as he just was so old that he doesn't know what he's talking about, or if he gets one side, the first side that he was on, and just kind of like falls on the next side, on the opposite side, I should say. In the first of the series of demonstrations intended to spoil LA Democratic Mayor Eric Garcetti chances for a cabinet position, Dr. Melina Abdullah, lead organizer of BLM Los Angeles, said Biden capitalized on our efforts to defund the police, and then tried to condemn the words at the same time. BLM publicly supported Biden, but it was mostly Trump was standing in their way as the mass looting of America. Still considered Biden a flawed statesman who is unwilling to push for meaningful reforms that they say would significantly improve black people's lives. It's funny that they would think that they would that they think that Biden is unwilling to push, meaningful reforms to improve black people's lives, considering one of those main issues was prison reform, and Trump did exactly that. He actually did that. In many ways, he the prison reform in order to rehabilitate and get these people back out onto the streets, and then a second step that was going to get them back as outstanding or upstanding citizens in their communities. This was actually being done. I understand it's a shame talking about prison reform, but it is indeed the percentages of black males outweigh all other nationalities, races, what have you, in prison. So it's interesting that that's the way Black Lives Matter, but Black Lives Matter is not really about enhancing black lives. For instance, Mr. Biden has said he is totally opposed to defunding the police officers, concluding they need more assistance. Abdullah added, "We want to be very clear that as we happily usher out the Trump regime, we will not accept a liberal white supremacy in the White House in the form of Joe Biden." Now, that's she actually touched on something she actually put her finger on something right there. It doesn't matter to me that Kamala Harris is your vice president if you're using her black woman body. That's the way she put it. If you're using Kamala Harris's black woman body to usher in oppressive systems and oppressive people like Eric Garcetti. Again, Mayor Valet. BLM leaders believe law enforcement agencies exist to maintain capitalist social order in America that has historically benefited white people, which in turn is the root cause of police violence against people of color. Their plan involves gradually shifting this BLM's plan involves gradually shifting public safety responsibilities and funding away from police departments, then reallocating the money to new services centered around meeting people's universal needs, such as housing, healthcare, and access to nutritious food. Apparently, black people don't know how to do that. Black people apparently are lost in trying to find housing, health care, and something to eat. Now, tell me again how Black Lives Matter is pro-black. BLM Executive Director Patrisse Cullors, in short, this quote from Patrisse Cullors, in short, black people won this election. We want something for our vote. Now, I know a lot of white liberals that voted with good intentions, thinking that Trump was the issue of our divisiveness in this country, our division in this country, and they voted again with good intention, thinking that hopefully we can come together once again. And that is a dear, very noble gesture on their part. It is not a smart gesture. I am here to tell you that if you believe that voting for Biden, and this is not just, I'm not saying Biden is the root cause of this, but if you went in to the polling place with the idea that if you got Trump out of office and put any other Democrat or anyone else in there, that this was going to stop the division, particularly the battle of the races kind of thing that's been happening lately with the BLM and Antifa push across the country. I'm here to tell you that your good intentions are about as worth as much. They're worth as much as a plastic pickle jar with about a month old, one of your month old hors Take that as you may, but we have a tough road to hoe for the next few years. And it's not because someone is looking for answers. Someone is looking for some sort of balance. It's because the end goal is to tear down the United States. Take it as you may. Scoff. You can't make that, or you keep it in your head that you can't make that happen. It's happening. Literally happening. You notice the changes But you're not willing to admit that your country is being ripped out from underneath you. Just think about just the things you are not allowed to say. Just think of your free speech right now. Think of your free speech. Think of all the things that were considered jokes in the past, and just how offensive people find those things now. So, moving on. Good news, maybe. The FBI has indeed requested the findings of the Voter Integrity Project led by Matt Braynard. The only problem is the FBI sucks anymore. Right. So yeah, they're willing to look into the Integrity Project's findings, but it is the FBI. So, and they have done nothing but just crap on themselves for the last 4 years. They have lost all kinds of credibility. Not to say that there's not good officers in the FBI, but man, their leadership has done nothing but go full-on politics. Investigations are painfully purposely unsuccessfully long in the FBI, and Team Biden would more than likely just squash any findings in the investigation anyway. So it's lovely. It's a lovely gesture. I think it's an empty one that FBI wants to look into the findings in the Integrity Project. But I think we got nothing. So don't start baking a cake in celebration. Brainerd and his staff found significant evidence of fraud in several swing states. Georgia, Arizona, Wisconsin were especially disturbing. We know that exists. We know that exists, and we can't depend on our left friends or anything like that to be like, well, they have to find the truth. I mean, I wouldn't want Biden to be in office right now if it was cheating, because that's the way our left friends to actually talk, right? Not so much. Matt Braynard tweeted, the FBI has proactively and directly requested from the VIP, findings that indicate illegal ballots. By Tuesday, we will have delivered to the agency all of our data, including names, addresses, phone numbers, etc. While there has been legit criticism of the actions of leaders of the agency over the last several years, I can personally attest to the many patriots with the rank and file who are fighting on the side of the Constitution and law. It sounds so lovely. It sounds like, go get them. But I think we got nothing. CNN reported Monday, mentioned this earlier, CNN reported Monday that a trove of leaked internal documents from China proved that the communist nation underreported COVID-19 numbers in the early stages of the outbreak. The news confirms that China did not tell the truth about the severity of the pandemic from the beginning. CNN revealed details from 117 pages of documents verified by experts to have come from the Hubei Provincial Center for Disease Control and Prevention. The city of Wuhan, where the virus was first discovered, is the capital of Hubei province. The documents show that on February 10th, there were more than 5,900 new cases of coronavirus in the province, but officials reported that there were only 3,911. On February 17th, Chinese officials reported that there were 93 COVID-19 deaths. But the Wuhan Flu deaths, COVID-19. But the documents showed there were actually 196, more than twice what the government disclosed. Bottom line, CNN has just now released evidence that China was not telling the truth about the severity of the Wuhan flu. To this day, again, CNN just now releasing disinformation. And to this, I say shiitake to you, CNN. The idea that releasing this stuff now is ridiculous. They have known this from like February, if not sooner. They have known this stuff since February. The only reason they haven't reported this is because Trump was saying it. They're not going to side. They're not going to give him that credibility. So CNN sat on this information this entire time. And you're going to find out more and more things, and I'll be glad to point them out. More and more things CNN is going to release that are like a year, that are going to be almost like a year old information that we've known for the entire time. The entire time. Because if you go back, there was a reason why Trump was calling it the Chinese virus. It's because it is Chinese. It came from China. It's nothing new. It's not the first virus that's come from China. But in CNN's case, MSNBC, they can't let you have that information because it looks pro-Trump. It sounds pro-Trump. Like, they can't make you heard at the beginning of the program, Zucker laying down the guidelines on how to make Trump look crazy, make him look sick, how to make the Republicans, look bad, avoid anything that makes them sound credible. That is the Republicans and or Trump people. It's the plan. It's the plan. And this isn't just about Trump. They did it to Bush, to W. They've done it for forever. In my lifetime, H.W. Bush, Reagan, Clinton couldn't do any wrong. Obama, oh, good heavens, Obama. The idea, it's funny because has Obama ever gone away? Every other president is like, whew, I put in some time. I worked hard. I have been the president of the United States. I hope I left this world a better place. Obama, whew, he has never gone away. Who in their right mind moves into D.C.? I couldn't get out of there fast enough. Whether I was president or not, I couldn't get out of D.C. Who in their right mind says, I'm just going to move into D.C. and not budge? And how many memoirs is this guy going to write? This guy is in the news far too much. Far too much. And they're talking they're talking about Trump not wanting to conduct a peaceful transfer. There hasn't been a peaceful transfer since Bush handed over the office to Obama. Since W handed over the office to Obama. There hasn't been a peaceful transfer in decades. So I don't know what you're talking about. You say, oh, well, I didn't see anything. Well, you're not paying attention. It's there hasn't been a peaceful transfer in decades, except when W handed over the reins to Obama. Because Obama, to this day, is fighting Trump. To this day, he has been fighting Trump from before the inauguration in 2017. He was fighting Trump during the campaign in 2016. And he's been fighting him the whole time, trying to get him not to undo what he did while he was in office. So, peaceful transfer. Trump. That's a joke. They're saying that Trump's the one with the issues of the peaceful transfer. Obama's in the news now, talking that mess. And in Georgia folded like a cheap suit. They're gonna do the mail-in ballots and the lots of drop boxes kind of thing. Georgia election officials caved to Stacey Abrams' demands and indeed will use the drop boxes in early processing for the Senate runoff on January 5th. Ay, ay, ay. All the mess that we're in right now, and these guys are still just falling for the same old stuff. The same methods that have resulted in November 3rd election debacle. So if you are tired of hearing people like me call you out for getting your guy in office through deception and lies, wait until this Georgia election doesn't go fairly. If the Georgia elections make both available seats Democrat, there will be little to nothing to hold back and stacking of the Supreme Court, adding to additional Democrat states, elimination of the filibuster, and the destruction of the Electoral College. The representative Republican will be no more, and the representative Republic will be no more, and those who whine the loudest will rule the country until the people become tired of the chaos and demand a king. One county GOP official warned, "We will lose both Senate seats in January." Absolutely, the election is corrupt. Drop boxes invite corruption, as does early voting. The media is not only covering it up, they are lying about it. That includes Fox News. Secretary of State Bradford Raffensperger has also approved the very corrupt practice of ballot harvesting. We are witnessing the erasing of the Republic in real time. The Times organization, which is backed by several Hollywood actresses, this one is really interesting, spent a large amount of its donations on salaries, but relatively very little on legal costs to assist victims in court, according to public records. The Times Legal Defense Fund was founded on January 1st, 2018, after receiving major donations from Hollywood A-listers. The organization was formed as a way to fight legal battles of victims of sexual harassment during the Me Too movement, #MeToo movement. The organization that started as a legal fund to fight systemic sexual harassment in Hollywood now has a mission where every person across race, ethnicity, religion, sexuality, gender identity, and income level to be safe on the job and have equal opportunity for economic success and security. The Time's Up Foundation and Time's Up Now, Inc. Raised $3,670,219 in 2018, but spent $1,407,032 on salaries and $300. This is the list of where their money is going. So that $1,407,000 on salaries, and only $312,000, less than 10%, on the Time's Up Legal Defense Fund for victims of sexual harassment, according to the New York Post. Charity Navigator, a charity watchdog group website that rates charities for effectiveness, said charities spending less than a third of their budget on program expenses are simply not living up to their mission. Time's Up spent 38% on salaries. Time's Up Now, the lobbying arm of the organization, spent 157. Again, the list of their spendings when they're supposed to be helping people in their legal battles. $157,155 on conference at Ojai a Valley Inn, premier Southern California luxury resort award-winning spa. Again, this is a legal fund, and they've spent $157,155 on a conference in a luxury spa. In addition, $58,395 was spent on travel. Why is donated funds going on someone's travel? $288,000 spent in advertising. Huh. I can see where advertising would be needed, but $288,000 of a illegal fund. $940,000 on legal costs, not for the defendants, for the people that had suffered of any sexual harassment or anything like that. $948,000 on legal costs to put this thing together, without crossing any lines. Tax filings show $112,000 went to a rally, a public relations company. To Rally, oh, that's the name. To Rally, a public relations company. The name of the public relations company. So they're giving money to a public relations company for a legal fund for something that's supposed to be obvious. $719,000, over $719,000 was given to Arnold and Porter K. Scholler, a multinational law firm with a powerful lobbying arm on Capitol Hill. Oh, wow. Former WNBA Lisa Borders, WA CEO, Lisa Borders was hired as the CEO of Time's Up in 2018, but left the organization 4 months later after her 36-year-old son was accused of sexual misconduct. Borders was supplied with $342,308 salary. Really? Marketing director Rachel Terrace received a salary of $295,000 in 2018, while treasurer Rebecca Goldman received a salary of $255,327. A lot of money going to already wealthy people, and it's all supposed to be donated cash for victims. Victims aren't getting a whole lot of money out of this thing. Time's Up governing board directors include former senior advisor. Here's where it gets interesting. Advisor to Barack Obama, Valerie Jarrett, actress turned Democratic activist Ashley Judd, actress and host of 2020 Democratic National Convention Eva Longoria, CNN pundit Anna Navarro, and Jussie Smollett's sister, Journey Smollett. It gets even more interesting. The Time's Up organization also features a global leadership board, which includes who's who. Actress Rosanna Arquette, Jessica Chastain, Laura Dern, America Ferrera, Brie Larson, Alyssa Milano, Janelle Monáe, Natalie Portman, Amy Schumer, Kerry Washington, and Reese Witherspoon. That sounds like quite the party. So all these people are getting together, and they're fighting the good fight for the victims of sexual harassment. I mentioned all those names because I wanted to point out that the Time's Up organization that is supposedly raising money for the legal funds of sexual harassment victims in the movie industry is really nothing more than an excuse for Hollywood women to dress up, rub elbows, and talk about doing projects together. All while utilizing their true talent of acting like they actually give a crap about anyone. Indeed. I'm going to leave you with that. I appreciate your time. A couple of headlines for you. Argue amongst your friends. Hope it gave you some ammunition, some information, maybe something new that you haven't heard. Just to show you just how much work we have to do in order to get the country moving in a proper direction. Right now, we are sliding down a hill, and there's nothing but doo-doo at the bottom. Thanks for joining me. Find me on Facebook, Ada Jet Noise. Like, follow on Facebook. Parler. Please follow me on Parler. A lot of views on Parler. But still not quite making an impact. Views and making an impact are different things. So please follow me on Parler. Ada Jet Noise on Parler. And Rumble. Rumble.com. You can find me on YouTube. But I'm really excited about Rumble. They have decided to take a chance on me. And there have been some unique followers that have decided to take a chance on me as well. And I thank you. And all I can do is continue to work hard or hardly work. And I'm having fun doing this. I'm hoping as I develop, you will be excited for me. Again, thank you so much for clicking in, following, and from what you heard, what's going on with like the CNNs and the MSNBCs, just in this program alone, it's going to take little people, the schmucks like me, to get some of this information out there as best that we possibly can. So whatever I miss, some other schmuck like me is going to be able to pick up the ball and run with it. And hopefully I can do the same. But yes, it's going to take us, little guys, to get this information to you, especially within the next 4 years, if indeed Biden is the president. The big networks are not going to waver. If you trust in the big networks, Joe Biden will be a god. He will be a god. That is, as long as he doesn't, his bones aren't breaking. The rest of his bones aren't breaking like his foot. Does anyone believe that he was playing with his dog? And that's how that happened? I say that he was just walking on the steps. There's nothing about Joe Biden that says, hey, he was playing with his dog. Somebody said he even jumped up. He jumped up. Joe Biden jumped? Yeah, you're going to have to come at me a little bit better than that one. All right, like I said, catch me on rumble.com, Facebook, Parler, YouTube, Ada Jet Noise, ADA Jet Noise, proper spellings. Probably, hopefully, I can do this tomorrow. Fridays are always tough for me. Again, I have a handicapped son. Low syndrome. If you're interested, people always seem to be interested in what my son has. LOWE, like the hardware store. Low syndrome. So if you want to look into that, I as a matter of fact, I intend on doing a little program in the near future on my son and his condition. Because there's a community of low syndrome boys. Yes, it only affects boys. the and I just like to highlight the condition and inform people on that. But that's for another time. That's for another time. I've got morning flybys to do because the world's crappy and we need to know about it. So I'll see you soon. Until then, big hug, be good, be still, enjoy your life.